Okay, good afternoon, traders. Welcome to Trade Setup in the live stream for the 7th of December. Well, I hope you're all having a great day again. I hope we're all doing well in the markets today. I think we're up a bit at the moment. Not sure current levels. We'll take a look at that in a minute anyway. So the topic of the day, what we'll go through today is going green. We've entitled it shares just to watch out for growth. Some stocks to watch out for growth in the green sector. Green sector, I guess, environmentally friendly or sustainable, that sort of area there. So we'll take a look at that today. Something I have followed in the past, not as much lately. I've got a list. You can go onto ASX and grab a list. I'll actually show you that in a second too when we start going through that. See a list is actually in that sector. There's something that's got exposure to that at least, or companies that are basically green, I guess. So we'll go through all that, go through a few that I think that I've got some good potential and stuff that I like, the sort of the sectors or the areas that I like, I reckon look great. What you can see on the screen, obviously, is our trade setup logo page. You've got some links to trade setup Twitter, trade setup on Facebook, and if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you automatically get anytime we go live or we stream, you get an automatic alert pop up on your phone too. You can get it pushed to your mobile phone just so you know that we actually press the button and we're ready to go. Also, we've got a general advice warning there. We go through that each day. Don't give specific advice, not taking into account anyone's financial position. This is just general advice only. We only just go through different stocks and what we see is good, bad, or where we see the market's heading and what we see those stocks doing and why. That's only our own viewpoint. So just remember to take that into account. Also, I guess just a final thing before we get stuck into it is if you've been following us and you quite enjoy it, if you can help us out and just follow us on the Twitter or Facebook or get onto the YouTube or just pass the word around and like us on the on some of those. If you can jump into LinkedIn even and just if you see any of the streams come through, any of the alerts, just like us and spread the word if you can. That'd be much appreciated. But anyway, let's jump into it now. We'll take a look at the markets to start with. What do we got? It's up 38 at the moment. So it's going quite strong. The ASX. We'll get the chart. This is a CFD, obviously, but you can see that market's kicking up quite strong. We're going up to an original, I think it was on Friday night, where we touched on that 54.70. Sold off Monday, and then we bounced back over Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then we've just continued to grind their way higher as well. The US has been obviously overnight. I think the Dow made an all-time high close. Yeah, setting a new record close on the Dow. So they just keep grinding higher and higher and higher. Who knows where it's going? We've got Europe. It was also quite positive. Not so much Europe, but DAX. DAX did very, very well. The last two sessions they've done very well. Obviously, those problems around Italy and that's looking at the Brexit too didn't quite eventuate, and I think everyone's just prepared for it. It's a third time around, really. Third surprise. So I guess you've got Brexit, then you've got Trump, and then they didn't want any more surprises. So everyone's well prepared for these sorts of things now. Oil got sold off a bit. It looks like it's actually quite interesting. It's got oil prices were lower as output rose in virtually every major exporting region, despite plans by OPEC to cut production. So that's interesting. Everyone's just trying to make a quick buck before they implement those cuts, pump out as much as they can at the current prices. So crude didn't get hit a lot, but it was down a couple of percent, I think. But in reference to where it's been, it's still higher than where it's been. Still above $50 a barrel, I think. Yeah, that's it. So we'll take a look at. You can see that I still think on the ASX, I think we're starting to look up at look to targets 55.05 and just grind their way back up there and grind their way back to the highs. You can see it's really just so we pushed up through that 5500. 55.05, even on the ASX, just touched above there, pulled back, made a lower high, retested it, and then just washed out these lows at 54.23. And then we're just, this time price action is quite good. You can see that curving bottom, a couple of retests of 54.23 or that zone, the 20 zone, and then it's pushed its way higher, and we're currently just up at 54.70. Expect a bit of reaction off here, because it is sort of hovering around overbought. It is a bit stretched up there, so maybe some profit taking just as markets push up there, but I mean, it still has got the strength just to punch straight through and just keep extending straight up to 5,500. But so it'd be interesting in the next few days how that goes. We go to just get a better view. Probably let's go to a 4-hourly, not a daily. Just get a few more candles in there, so you can see that I don't mind this price action. It's just sort of contracted off that 5,500 zone. Uh, Really, we could be holding, if we hold 54.70 and just roll over from here, we could roll over and retest right down. Who knows? But at the moment, that type of price action is not really conducive of a big sell-off. You expect some sharper moves down, but that really, punching straight back up again and then pushing down and or bouncing straight back up. So obviously, even on the 4-hourly, we're touching in overbought, getting a bit stretched. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing a bit of reaction off 54.70 and just rolling over a bit and maybe retesting these lows or just building that higher low, longer term higher low, and continuing our way higher. But we'll see how that goes. Let's take a look at the Aussie. Had some numbers out today. GDP was a bit less than expected. That was at 11:30, so you can see that reaction on the Aussie. This is a 30-minute chart. Uh, got knocked on the head a bit. So it was looking good till then. It was holding that trend up, holding some higher lows, and it's just looking like it was going to continue on up to 7,500, and then that number come out. I guess it goes against inflation, I guess, and potential rate rises from the RBA. And I think the RBA statement yesterday was fairly mild. I don't think they let out anything out of the bag too much. Maybe pointing towards, if it does keep going the way it's going, expanding a bit, and we get those growth numbers, then they could be heading towards a rate rise. But I think just after that number today, it's anyone who was buying into it on the back of that is just probably just exit some of those positions, even if they were buying into it around that 74, this sort of zone down here. So yeah, we'll be interested to see how that Aussie goes. It's still touching up on that resistance at 75. After moving down from, was it 77.50, had a big sell-off there. We've contracted higher, maybe holding that a major lower high there at 7,500 and then rolling over from here. So that recent price action is looking a bit like that. You've got a lower high that's just built at 74.70, say, and we could just work our way down and through 73.75 and retest these lows, or just hold a lower high somewhere in this zone and then build and then push back up. I mean, who knows? Who knows at the moment? We just have to watch price action and see how it plays out. All right. Any questions just while we're banging away on what's the market's doing? Just before we get into the topic of the day. And how are we all going? And let's just take a look and see what the ASX is doing. Still up 35. The stuff we got is not moving a hell of a lot. No big movers. We got PLS. That's sort of back to roughly where we got in. Probably up a little bit on that one. That's Pilbara. Galaxy, bit of the same. Yeah, it's holding these highs, which we like to see. See that even just today, a bit of rejection. Minor rejection candle there. Wouldn't mind to see it push back up through 70. If it gets through 47.5, I think we can target these highs and just a good strong blowout. That'll be interesting to see that blow those highs. I mean, on the weekly, it's starting to get extended up here, so that's pretty much the reason this zone here. While we took a partial, be interesting to see if we can hold that second light and they can just bang up into the new highs at 55 or thereabouts. That'd be great. So had a news tape, nothing major. So really just trying to avoid that price, I guess. US dollar. This is we alerted to this today. We haven't got a buy alert on it, but it's something we're watching. If you go to a weekly chart, that looks good. You can see that price action there. It's holding that support base. It's being rejected off that, say, 1250 thereabouts. It's touched down after a bit of a washout to the highs. See that made a lower low, punched up to a higher low. Sorry, a lower high, and it pushed down and held that higher low at 1250. So it's just coming out of that zone now. Whether we're making another lower high and we just push straight through 1250, or we build and we hold here and punch up through that 1325, that even that level there, 1330, sorry, punch up towards the end and start testing up to 1360 and above. Obviously, it's got a lot just to do with this is all US dollar based. I think it's US dollars in relative to Aussie. So I think that could easily punch up. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's interesting. I love the chart. It looks good. What else we got? I can never quite remember. Eden. Below where we got in, but that's not looking the best at the moment, to be honest. It's just holding that sideways movement. It tends to be doing that. It'll wash out some highs. You get in, it looks good, and then roll over, hold the low. So it's just really stuck in between that range. Look at it. It really is just stuck at the moment. Holding some higher lows, you can see latest around 20, just above. Hoping for a higher low here at 22.5, but also holding lower highs. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Phone call coming through then, so we'll just get rid of that. What else have we got? BPT. We were in that and got chipped out, and then it's just popped up to the highs. So it'll be interesting to see if that can keep going. It's just starting to roll over, find a bit of resistance up there. Anyway, let's get into it now. Let's before I get stuck into these, I'll just start looking at them too much. Before we get stuck into it, let's well, before we get stuck here, let's take a look at the topic of the day. So what I just want to go over is going green and green energy stocks. Sorry, not green energy, but green environmentally friendly, environmentally sustainable stocks in that area or that sector. What you can do, I'll just get it up here. Let me just find it. There's a list on. There we go. You can see it there. You go to the ASX. That's the website. If you can see it. Oh, you probably can't. Oh no, you can see it. It's just got greenham.com/au/ASX listed green companies. So I just Google it and come up with that, and you'll get that that list in there. If you can see, just so when you refer back to it, you can see that. Yep, you can see it just up there. That's where to go, and then you can just view these companies. So there's some here. You've got the yellow ones that says only part of what they do. So going green or that companies that are sustainable, that's only part of their business. Whereas these green ones here, sole focuses on renewables or sustainability. So I mean, there's a few in there that you'll notice, and there's a few good ones that we like. But just going through, you've got Sims Metal. We've heard about that before. Never heard of TPI. Haven't really. They're into waste management. TPI, Tox-free solutions. Some of these are very, very small stocks, but you'll see we've alerted Silex. Don't mind Silex, SLX. I think we've had a go at that before, done quite well. We'll take a look at that one today. There's another one we've got DYE. We'll have a look at that. Dysol. It's not a big. I don't think it's huge actually. What's the other ones we're going to look at today? We've got CLQ. We've had a look at that a few times now. I think we've even alerted to it a few times. I don't mind that one. That's one that we'll go over today also. ORE is further down here somewhere. We've looked at that a couple of times as well. And it is obviously Galaxy we've got. They're not, they're the yellow shaded ones, only part of what they do. So there's a few in here. Nanosonics we've gone over quite a few times before. I think we've even alerted that to a few times with great success on NAN. BLG Blue Glass. We'll have a look at that one. I think that's on my list. BLG. That looks quite good. So there's a few in here. There's obviously a fair few small ones that are barely trading. URL, please. All right, let me just. I'll put it into. Here we go. Let me copy that. The URL for this is. There you go. So you can click on that. That was a good idea, Paul. Lucky you're onto it. I keep forgetting if I can use the chat. Yeah, so if you go to that website and you can take a look at all these ones and see what they do. Now, I'll get that back across here, and I'll go to my little. So let's just start off with a couple of look at SLX, Silex. You can see. So we've got the chart here in the bottom right corner. That's on a daily. We'll go through that in a minute. You can see it's right down. It's been a lot higher. It's been up towards $3.50 to $4. Even I think that's everything. That's actually it's been way up above that in the past. 08. But so it's right down on its knees below 50 cents. We're now around 40. Only done a grand today, so very, very small volume today. we'll have a look at that technically, whether that could pick up and the volume coming in could really kick on. And what news they had just recently, 11th of November. Uh, you can see a news announcement there. The US Department of Energy and GLE license for Silex technology reached agreement for the sale and purchase of depleted uranium hexafluoride. So obviously the market took that quite well. It was up, we were at 54% on the day. Obviously big retracement. I think that was at 11th November. Yep. So it went up to hit 60 cents and straight back down again. It's holding. It seems to be holding a higher low just around that 40. So we'll take a look at that. But they're into semiconductors, semiconductor technology. So um, focus on research, development, and commercialization of technologies across the three platforms, including nuclear energy, solar energy, and advanced materials and instrumentation. Okay, um, we'll take a look at that on a chart in a minute. We'll go through. So I don't mind that one. Obviously, it's lacking a bit of volume there for what we like, but it's just something to keep on the radar. Obviously, where it's come from, you can see where it is. It's been right down there. It hasn't been right down there back in 03, 04. It was sort of down at these levels. It's built some on the monthly anyway. Built some lower highs into that zone. So it'd be great to see if we can get a bit of a perking up off that level. And obviously some news out on the 11th, which has kicked it up. So there's some buyers in there sitting there watching it. There are people watching it, I guess. And you can see if we can hold this level at 40, it may work its way back up. Target that 60 or even 70, even higher. All right. Let's go on to the next one now. We'll look at DYE. They're into solar as well, solar technologies, and solar cells. And I mean, I've only done it. They're only small, obviously, as well. But you can see just going through, they're sort of, it's at that same zone. We've spoken about this before, and it's been sold off. You can see it's just pushed down below 20, and it's just pushing back up again. So it has had some buyers push it up to 40 recently. That was sorry, recently. That was the end of last year. This is on a weekly. Um, it is struggling, but it could be something just to keep an eye on. Let's look at the monthly. Yeah, that's all the data there. So it's pretty much it's had its lows previously back in 2012, worked its way off there up to 60, and then it could just be a major longer term build in that higher low, sort of around this 20 mark, but it's got a lot of work to do. Next one we'll go over, take a look at it. So there's only a few we're going to chart up in a second. IFN, we know this one. Infigen, Infigen Energy. All right, so they've done half a mil. It's not a lot for them today, I guess. They've done 30 years. They did about 20, 25 million just, I think it was yesterday. So the volume can really pick up on this one, obviously. Is that the weekly? Sorry, I'm looking at the weekly. Bit of a goose. So they've done, yeah, half a mil today. They did yesterday. What did they do yesterday? About two mil yesterday. So you can see the volume does pick up when it needs to. There's enough there to play with. This one I like. I'll chart that later on. I actually quite like that. Um, you can see where it's come from. It's really had that. I've spent a lot of time down, say from 2012, down sort of around that 20 cent mark, and 20 to 40, even 20 to 30. A lot of time down there. So from 2012, 13, 14, 15, it started pushing up towards the end of 15 and into the start of the year, got up to $1.20, backed off from there. Um, whether whether this level is going to hold, and this is holding as a lower high, and that's going to put pressure on the downside. It's really at the moment it's a bit unknown because we're still holding got a high low here. So this trend down is broken with this push up. It's pushed back down. It could potentially be holding that higher low at 80. If it pushes up through say 90, 95, these sort of minor highs, then I think it's going to kick up and start a potentially another leg higher to attack $1.20 and even higher. But it has got a lot of room, but something to keep an eye on, I think, technically. What are they into? They're into solar as well. Well, we'll just, no, sorry, in the wrong one. They're into renewable energy. What do they got? Wind turbines. Yeah, wind farms. So renewable energy there, power producers. So we'll go over that in just a second. What else is there? CLQ. CLQ is not bad. I mean, it's just had a bit of a push up of 40 cents. You can see, get rid of that. Uh, it's potentially holding, so you can see that little washout on the weekly basis. If you go back to, it's about here. This candle just in here, washed down to about 30, 32. Just wash out these previous lows, and then it held a higher low and just starting to kick up now. Um, for me to get in, I'd like to see a decent enough correction on that, but we'll draw that up again in just a minute. CLQ will go over, IFN. Um, but yeah, they're into waste management. So we've taken a look at, we've even alerted this, I think, previously. If I can just get it up, I'll just check. Uh, maybe not. All right, maybe it's just on the, it was just on the radar probably. Anyway, that one there, I think that's got potential if it can hold these higher lows and just contract, show a bit of contraction just to bring in some buys, get some of those sellers out of the way, clear them out, and then kick its way up. It's had a good leg up though. That's the only thing. So it's probably needed to do a bit of work, and this is why on a weekly basis this could be a lower high, and just to get that price and contraction, price contracting on that weekly basis, just because it has had that good leg up through most of, I guess, the beginning of the year, push up to 65 cents. So maybe a bit of work to do ahead of it. Let's get on to just quickly ORE. This is one we looked at before. Quite good. Look, it's if you look at this monthly looks quite good. You can see that that dollar mark. It's picked up off a dollar up to about 3. Pulled back, retested around the $1.50, and then it took out the highs at $3, $4 up to 5. Just pulled back recently. So that monthly chart, I reckon, looks really nice. I don't mind that. You can see where it's come from. It's holding some major high lows. Firstly at a dollar, and then it's got another one at $1.50. That's produced that leg up. Whether we just contract a bit, have to spend a fair bit of time contracting, um, yet to be seen. But you can see this nice. I like this price action. It's really controlled, I guess you could say. It's not whippy, and you can see it going up as well. It's quite controlled, and then touched on that high around $5 a few times and started building some lower highs and pushed down. And now we're pushing up out of that zone. So if we get another leg up, which could easily happen, take us, from that $3 zone up through 5. We're sort of in that zone now, or that area of $4, where it could just hold. Uh, thing is, the weekly's getting a bit stretched on the upside, so and it was a good reaction. If you can see, these last few days, a good reaction of 475. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. I want to see contraction before I'm convinced that that's the buyers are happy to step in there. And the last one, just quickly, BLG, blue glass. It's another one. It's only done a 40. Well, my system anyway is 45,000. I think Spark only shows data from the ASX. There's the ASX and there's another exchange. I know David and myself got two. I've got Spark. He's got Iris, and Iris shows a bit more volume because it's taken into account the two exchanges. But this is what's going through the ASX anyway. 45 grand today. Right. So what are these guys in the semiconductors, technology, equipment, and materials? Green technology companies into the semiconductor industry. I like ones that are in this sort of semiconductors because obviously with all the IT moving ahead and the advances, I like companies that are in this area just because it's I think it's a good growth with all the technology advances. I mean, there's always going to be interest for these types of things, especially the semiconductors and batteries and stuff like that, and the uses for these type of products, this type of technology, which could really kick it on. I mean, it's only at 35 cents at the moment or thereabouts. And where it's been up towards 90 cents. They haven't even cracked a dollar in that price action. It is, like I said, it's not trading a lot at the moment. If you go to a weekly, it has picked up well off that 5 cent mark. Whether it can keep going, it's showing that it's holding that 27.5, but it's still making minor lower highs. So I think this one alone has got a fair bit of work to do too. You can see that Stochastics are coming down, which is nice, but price is still holding around that 35. Not too bad. Look, I don't mind that. You can see it's similar to price action. It does a touchdown on support zone. It creates a support zone, not really high lows, but just one sort of a price that was just below 20, say 18, 19 cents. Makes some lower highs and just pops out. So if we can get something like this, a bit of a pop out as it contracts and just retest, it might be a longer time to do that. Take a bit more time. And then just that sharp move out, and then you hold a higher level, just consolidate around a higher level, and then pop out, and you get that next thrust higher as buyers start to step in and push it up. But we'll see how that goes. Let's just start charting. I was going to have a look at BLG, but I think I'm going to stick to just a couple. We'll look at IFN, CLQ, and maybe Silex, but we'll see how we go. Let's just get off to our. So has anyone else got anything else they're looking to sort of this green sector or this in this area? Any other names that you want to have a look at? Yeah. This is Silex here. I wasn't going to chart it, but I might just while we're here. If anyone's looking at this one, the thing is quite, when it goes, it just goes pop. But the thing is, it makes lower highs. So there's obviously every time it pops, people are profit taking. They're happy to profit take that, and it goes down, makes some lower lows, some lower highs, works its way down, and then bang. I don't know if this is news related. When it popped up here, and you can see it's only really just got up to, so it's getting a bit of a key level up towards, was it 70 cents? But it's still making those lower lows that I don't like. I'd rather see it perk up off hold some higher lows at least. It's starting to just through here. Just draw that up. What's that? That's about 28 cents. But I'd rather see some sort of price action after this move here. That was on the 11th, wasn't it? That was on that news. You'd like to see, start to lift. A bit of contraction, maybe a bit of a lift here, and then you probably get some buyers starting to step in. You just want to see those high lows build, I think. Anyway, not so much lower highs, but more high lows buying in, and you can see, and we are down in that zone. We're getting a bit stretched. We are down here, and so it could be the makings of a good area to trade from. But those first few things I want to see is some high lows build. Just pop up, maybe a pullback, build another high low, another pop up, just to see evidence of those buyers stepping in, and then maybe something like this to get a bit of an entry signal, an entry setup where we can just judge our risk quite easily. Let's get on to, and then that way I think at least you've got, if you had a trade like this, you might have a 5 cent risk. Even if you get in around, say around this mark, 47, around 45, you've got it could easily just pop straight up to 60 again. So your risk reward is quite good. It's quite handy. The fact that it could go a lot higher, if we just draw that up, I mean, there's a lot of room for it to go. So, but I think even longer term, you can see they're just making lower lows. As it occasionally kick up, and then just they all profit taking comes in again. So there's still a bit of work for this to do in the longer term. Let's just go. What's the next one we want to look at? IFN. IFN. Oh, thanks, Paul. Also, thanks for the thanks for the idea yesterday. Chatting about those. I hope you watched that video. Hope it was helpful. If it's not, just give us a call. IFN. Now, I don't mind this. You can see how much time. If I can just draw that up better. You can see how much time it's spent through this zone. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4 years? 4 years just hanging around between, 35, say, and down towards 20. So 15-cent range for 4 or 5 years. And then we started to lift out of that zone. That was nice. I mean, who's to know that's going to happen? Obviously, it's a bit hard. If you're following the stock, maybe there's a fundamental reason why it started lifting, but you get this nice price action, started making that lower high, and then come back down and retested. Could have been an entry through here, but then you might have just been running a risk. Even then, if you're trading it with some nice entries, maybe fundamentally it looks good. It's down the lower end of the range, down to the support level, and just buying it off support. Maybe you stay somewhere in here. If you bought it through here, you've got your risk. At least targeting up towards that top end of the range. Doesn't quite get there. Maybe you've got a break-even trade on that one. Maybe a slight profit, maybe just a minor loss, or you just held it and eventually did get up there, and then it made that lower high. So you can have a go at it for that breakout. So maybe here you're looking for it to push out. Didn't happen. It started consolidating. But if you had a go in here, even just through that, you can see that level through here. So just off that minor, so it's only a very minor level, but in context to it holding this double bottom down here at around that 22 mark, this is all obviously in hindsight. It has pushed out that time, so you've got a good push out. So now, your risk reward's fantastic. You've got a good trade. Your risk was quite low, even if you tucked it below, say 20 cents. At least if you took some off here, okay, so be it. But just up at the highs, or if you're just waiting for price action for a reason to take it off, you never got it, and price action just kept going. So great little trade there. You've got this push down. Tried to retest, that 35 zone, but pulled up a bit short. So buyers were strong there, and you can see in here, great little entry. You got the high low, risk is on there, and I guess that's more of a prime entry for us. If we can just draw that up through here, purely because it's spent so much time through here, 4 or 5 years, like we said, banging around between resistance and support, and it's had that push out. You don't know what's going to happen there, but there it started to bring in some buyers, and then we've had that pullback, contraction. It's built that high low in here, and then we've got that break up through 49 cents, even if you bought it at 50. And look at the run up you had there. And this is what we've spoken about before. When you're right, you're right. It's pretty obvious, and then you get that strength of buyers coming in, especially after a push out of many years of consolidation. So where we're at the moment is, I think there's still a bit of work to do, because you've had that strong, you can see that accelerated near vertical move, and did have that pullback. Sometimes, you build a lower high. We've got that retest to wash out of the highs. So whoever's buying on a bit of a breakout into new highs just got done on that pretty much straight away. And this is where it comes in handy to just know some technicals and know that that's probably that sort of trade up here after this nice extended moves is a very high risk one, low reward. And you can see that big push through that ankle level through here. What was that, a dollar? Big push through here, made lower lows. So what we've done, we've just got this secondary leg up. So now what we want to see is prices push down. So you want to see some sort of, all the buyers that have built up through here, everyone's a winner through there. The prices actually popped up, and then you can see people have had to start taking profits. Maybe you get early ones, some late ones with a breakthrough here, holding stops under there, but still everyone's a winner. But you need this, from this move up, you need people to get flushed out. We've got a lower high that's built just in here. If we can just expand that out. So we've got that lower high. Now what we're trying to just get evidence of is this going to be, let's just get rid of some of this actually. Yep. So are we going to see, I'll draw it up a bit nicer. So I like things being a bit, you see that wash out through the highs. So we've got a potential low down here. Now if that gets targeted, then this builds a lower high just in here, and that pushes through this zone here. I think it's going to be on. It's going to be, sorry, not on. On for the shorts. I think it's going to go down and at least retest there, make even a big washout here, and then start pushing back up. But what we want to see from here is just evidence prices coming out of contraction. You can see that contraction there. It's getting in there. So if we pop up through here, it could be an entry, but you could be capped, a few cents later. If it gets up through 93, and you're coming off lower highs, you're coming off a support base there, but still it's in contraction. You really just want to see, I want to see a bit more work done. Okay, maybe up through here. And then you get that push up, and then maybe something like this, and that could take us up. So you want to see, that initial pop up, and that way it's pretty clear we're going to see some highs. It's coming out of contraction to the upside rather than rolling over and testing new lows. It's pushing up out of that contraction. Buyers are starting to get excited in here, and then just in here is probably a bit like this type of area where you see it pop up, pull back, and then an inside higher lows are built, inside lower highs, and then you get that push up, and then you get that accelerated move. When it's here, it's more of the known. It's getting a bit known, but you're in a good zone, and then you just get people buying, that continuation trade, momentum traders, whatever, and to get that, what you want though is that accelerated move higher, or even from here. Sorry. All right, does that make sense? what we're looking for there. But I still a little bit of work to do, but we're starting to see those early signs. You can see that that move down has broken with this push up. We've had a dip lower, couldn't get back down to 70, and there is potential that we could still roll over from here. Who knows? Uh, but you can see that there's potential that the buyers are starting to step in. There's some signs that they're starting to step in, but still, sellers are still involved. You know, they're still in the fray, in the mix. It's just let's actually just see where it is today. I haven't looked at this one. No, that's not it. What was it again? IFN. Yeah, so it's popped up today. It's up 1.5%. So I like that one. Long story short, don't mind that. Technically, it looks all right. Let's just get on to, it's not all right. CLQ. It's probably not as nice as IFN. Just wait for that to load. Just give me a minute there, guys. You can see that price action there. Let's just go to bigger views, get the other chart up. CLQ. Oh, all right, so it's getting up towards its highs around that 60 to 70 cents. I think it opened up around there, popped up, and it's just sold off from 2008, you know, right down to 2011, made those lows around that 5 cent mark, picked up off there, built a high low around 2014. Sorry, just around that 5 cent mark. It was just below that previously, 2011, and then you can see it pick it up. So that type of price action, you know, sharp move higher, sell off again, but it's holding. Buyers are starting to step in at lower prices, and then you get that kick up, another kick up through that month. This is a monthly chart, don't forget. Contraction lower, holding another lower high, sorry, higher low at 12.5 cents, and then you got that that sharper move higher. All right, you get a good sharp move higher to 45, bit of a back off, another push up into the highs, 65 to 70 cents, and we've just got a sell off. So at the moment, what we'd be looking at on this one is really, so we're at that stage, we're at this stage now. So we've had that good push up. You can see support. Support is built up there, which it's pushed up off here. It's tried to retest, made a little lower high, sorry, high low. You can see that contraction there. Beautiful area just to trade just in here. Would have been nice. You get the accelerated move up. But then it's more of the known up here. You know, we've come back through, pushed up, taken out the highs, made a lower high just in here, and then you get that sell off. So as you make a lower high, that's where you're going to get, especially after an accelerated move, you're going to get profit taking. Because from there, you don't know how far it's going to pull back. You don't know what's going to happen from there. So generally a bit of a sell off, you know, profit taking in there. But it's come down and tested 35, bit of a washout through here, you can see. Then holding a higher low, it's just taken out the highs through a lower high just in here. So we're on the upside at the moment. It could just get stretched. We could make a major, this could be a zone where we just build a major lower high and then roll over. Now let's get rid of that. It's not the number I wanted. So we could just do this top of price action, then bang straight through support here, and then it could come down. You don't know what's going to happen from there, but what I'd like to do, rather than that price action, I think it's a good area. If we can come down, maybe retest this break area, see a bit of contraction. So that contraction really is just what we're looking for, is that evidence of buyers stepping in and maybe buying it through here. So you just want to buy it. You can see that way you can analyze your risk. It's easy to identify your risk reward, where you could be heading. You know, if it does a decent enough correction, a bit of contraction there, then we might get a 2-to-1 trade off that, even if it just touches back up to the highs. But then there's that potential for this major overall structure to hold, you know, for a good leg up, and this leg could take us off this support zone, could take us, you know, straight up through these highs at 65 to new highs. Just remembering we're looking at the weekly, we're up towards the highs from the month, from where it started. Okay, so if we get a bit more contraction and build another higher low, a more major higher low, you know, so that's a good leg up. The weekly is just crossed, the MAs are just crossed up. Sorry, on the daily, MAs on the weekly are up. Had a bit of a correction here. You can see the MA is down, hold the support, built again. We might just get another support holding, and then that weekly trend just to kick in. You can see probably a bit more contraction needed there, but that's still looking good. That's, before I get too sidetracked, I think that's, so we know what we're looking at there. I like that one. Price action is still, it's a bit like, I like IFN and this CLQ. I like the price action is looking good. It's picking up. You're getting on the side of the weekly trend. I think CLQ's got a bit more work to do. But like I said before, IFN's, I think it's actually, it's at a better stage, I think in a better zone. But it is looking good. Let's just go up. Anything else anyone's looking at before I want to join in the fray there? It's ORE. Just see what this looks like. Yeah, I think ORE's. Let's look at it on the other chart. All right, so go back to the monthly. That's all the data there. All right, so we had that push up. That was way back in 2009. That push up to $4. Had a big sell up, big reaction lower, but it's held that the dollar mark. So it picked up off there, retested dollar. When you see that retest, if you can see this zone in here, that's a beautiful early entry. See, you can see it's touched down here. So that $1 mark is quite significant. It's pushed up off that dollar. It's retested here. You know, failed to go through, picked up off. You know, made that lower high in here in conjunction, sorry, in reference to that $4 mark, that lower high around that $2.50, and retested a dollar. So I'd be really happy to take a trade just in there because it's built that high low. You've had it 1, 2, 3 major tests of that zone, that dollar, held up beautifully. Even, you know, you got a really good trade. I think it's probably about 3 to 1, even if just touch retesting this high at 228 or 230. The thing is, what you spend a lot of time consolidating, did bust through, had a major pullback down there, so you probably could have easily taken a good profitable trade out of that. But then you'd come along, and this is the weekly, don't forget. Yep, you built another higher low in here, the $1.40, and had a big extended move. That is a lot harder to trade on the weekly basis anyway. So that was that zone, I think. Started 2016, is it? 2013, no, I'm miles off. Anyway. Okay. So that was a push down on the weekly basis. So we've taken out the lows. I don't know if that's on the back of news in December. Had a good strong push up, took out this lower high, then consolidated around here. So really, you could have sat there and you could have traded in that zone quite easily, quite comfortably. It would have been a bit hard. So technically, it's just a bit tougher. You've got a major support through here, that lower high low built just in here. I mean, that's a bit harder to trade. You get that washout and then that reaction straight back up, and it took out that level through 213, 215. Spent a fair bit of time consolidating through here. And the only sort of thing that would have alerted me, I guess, to that is just that downtrending. So it's had a good solid move down. I wouldn't have been interested in, you know, taking something in here, only because it doesn't fit my profile, what I like to look for. But once it punches up through in this zone here, it punches up through that out of contraction. Even though it's come quite hard, quite strong off that base of $1.40. You could have traded that because it's quite clear that it's consolidating through there, and then you could probably pick out a trade even just at this right hand side after it starts holding some higher lows. You might have picked one out here and just got stopped out there, depending on where you got your risk. Pop up through here if you got a cent just on that close. That's not as strong as sort of this retest and even this buying in this zone here. And we'll even probably pop out just towards the end, pop out through 269, 270, and then it was on from there. But at the moment, you know, we've got a good resistance up at that 506 mark. Has had that big reaction down. We've had a reaction back up. So really, I think it's a bit the same as or we're just looking at CLQ, I think it's got a bit of work to do yet. But what you want to see is that longer term, something like, well, something like that, where buyers are starting to step in, then evidence of it picking up. Okay, so you just want to see that type of price action. You can see the higher lows are building, in reference to this high, and then that bringing in, that's dragging some buyers longer term traders for that push up through this resistance zone around that 506. Alrighty. I think I haven't gone to BLG, but I mean, technically there's not much to talk about that one. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's just taking out those highs through 37 cents. It had a big strong move up, consolidated through here just above 20 to 25. Consolidated, built some high lows, pushed up, and away she went. That was just like something we were looking at previously. Yeah, we just spoke about this before, so probably I'd see this as having a lot more action to do, because that range through 27 up to 40, it's quite a big range there. You can trade off the bottom there if you can have a bit of a pullback, build a higher low, and then go. That would be nice, but I think that's had a good strong move up, even on a weekly basis, without any serious correction. And you can see that price actually is getting a bit whippy there, a bit choppy up at these highs, so I expect it to pull back. You want that volatility to come out a bit, come out of the market. You see it holding some high lows on a daily basis, and then there could be a trade in that one. But I think that's just something to keep on the radar, something to watch. All right, we'll finish it up there on this on the topic. Anyone's got anything they want to have a quick look at? Sid, no worries, John. Yeah, we've been watching this. It is. I'll just draw it up. Actually, let's get up on Ninja. SYD. All right, here we go. So one thing about that's obviously, well, obviously the long-term uptrend there. You can see that move up there. Say supports, it's touching down on support quite consistently. It's had a good little run. It's got a bit more vertical through here. And you can see that. You can see it touch down there pretty much and then bang straight through. So that uptrend's broken. If anything, it could be just pulling back because I don't see any clear levels of support through here. Just these anchor levels to the anchor level here to move up. There's an anchor level here which it's just touching down on now. But considering it could just have a big correction, if this stronger move up could have a big correction, hold the trend, maybe build around here 560 or so. And this move down in context to the move up is quite hard, if that makes sense. I'll have a look at WTC in a sec. Yeah. So you can see, yeah, up to that 750 mark. I think what you'd want to see is that if it can hold up here, I would want to see a bit of price action purely because of that move down. It hasn't been very controlled. It's been quite sharp, sudden move down, even gapping down. It's popped back up, sort of closed that gap and a bit higher, and then had a good sell-off again. For this leg down, the anchor's just up. It's about that 636 mark, and we're just up there now. Actually, where is it at the moment? 636. So we're about there now. So yeah, so we're just up there now. Because of that steepness of that move down, that sell-off, if it was going to hold up here, I think it's going to have a bit of work to do. You might even get it to retest, wash out, and then perk back up. But I just think it's got to do a bit of work. before I'd be looking at buying it, especially if you can see it, it's washed out some of these. If you get some type of price action like this, rolling over, just washing out this, rolling over, washing out these lows, and then it pulls back up and makes a higher low. When you could get an entry off here, but you don't know. I think it's still, because that type of price action is nice. When you get a good washout and then confirmation of that level holding, that's going to draw in some more buyers. And then you got these sellers, they've worked out through here. Maybe it hasn't finished because it's had such a strong move up. You don't know if the selling's finished. Could easily just roll down from here and then go, maybe test the support and then pop straight through it. You don't know what's going to happen. So you just want to see, this is the only clear level at the moment. Otherwise, we're, around that 586 mark. But still, it's got to show signs. This is not a clear high low just in here, for me anyway. And it hasn't broken that sort of a key zone just at the moment. You want to see it pop out, pop up through there. And that's just a sign of this seller's starting to lose the control a bit. And then after that, you probably want to see, just because I want to see more work done by the stock. I don't believe anything, just go pop, pop up, pull back, and then just go. If it does, it's a bit, go up as hard as it's come down. If that's the case, it probably just retest and roll over, but you can get a positive trade out of it. But I'd say for a nice, long, strong leg up, another good leg higher, continuation of this overall trend up. If you can see any of my lines, I'll get rid of some of these. I sort of leaning towards that top of price action. Pop up, wash out these highs, maybe retest the lows with a washout. It doesn't have to wash out, but retest there, make more of a major high low in here, and then you see that acceleration move out, because that's going to drag in more buyers anyway. Hope that helps there, John. Bill, what are we looking at? WTC. I haven't looked at this for a while now. We have been in it previously. Let me just see. I can't remember where we got in. Probably get a. There we go. That was our chart there. I think we got done it, if I'm right. So this is just the way we were following it. I think we got washed out here somewhere. Buy entry, what was that, 580? We made something on this, I just can't quite remember. Anyway, that was, I'm guessing that was, let me just see. That was before there. Yeah, that was this leg up. That leg up there rolled over. We got done on this candle, I think. Well, I think we took a partial on that and then got done on that candle there, pretty much break even. So not much happening on that one. It did pop up, big washout there. Sorry, I hope you can't hear that ringing there. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, so on this one, we got a big retest of their support down here at 540, and then it picked up from there. But at the moment, that's not looking quite as strong, I think, considering. Oh, look, it's a bit hard to see. There's not a lot of data in there. Oh. You can see it's made higher lows. It's still holding. It's got to hold this zone for my liking. If we just get up, Wise Tech. Oh, something else I just noticed. What I do like to watch. What have we got here? Can you see that? All right. Yep. That's good. All right. So you can see obviously that trend's higher. It's still holding, and it's probably, and this is one thing, just looking, you can see that stochastic, it's come down, it's getting to oversold, it's getting a bit stretched, but it's still holding that support zone. So it has got the potential. It's just made some minor, ever so slightly, some lower highs into that zone. So we may just get it contracting a bit. It could roll over and contract this whole leg up, but this leg up has been fairly controlled. You go pop up, pull back, inside level, pop up, pull back, pop up. So it's been quite controlled, if that makes sense. And he's got some, good entry through here. Had a good entry through here. Actually, I think that was our first entry. Yeah, that was our first entry. Then we got it at 580 and we got stopped at it. So we're profitable through here. And this one we got a break even trade. It's just this price action I'm not too keen on at the moment because it's come all the way back down to this support level. But it sort of coincides with this rising support as well at 540. So it needs to hold here. And if we can just draw that up, well, let's get rid of that. Holding that support, if you can see what I'm just drawing up. So that's up down here. It's made at lower high here. It's coming all the way back down. So what we'd want to see is really some higher lows build. All right. So you just want to see, I always like to see some higher lows, even if it's got some lower highs in there. So you can see that's sort of coming down, but it's holding a higher low, and especially when it gets up towards that potential resistance zone, it could pop up. I think it's got a fair bit of room to do, to contract as well off this support around that 540 to 60, or say 550. It's right down there. There's nothing to say down here. It's getting a bit oversold. It's a bit stretched down here. There's nothing to say it can't, do the opposite if we can get that, build some lower highs and go pop, straight through that support zone through there. Because as it looks, it's still getting a bit of pressure on the downside. It's just where the buyers are happy to step in and continue this trend higher. All right. I hope that one helps there, Bill. We haven't actually alerted this for a little while. Just this most recent price action's got me just more cautious. I mean, this price action through here is beautiful. You can see you got a bit of a perk up here. It's held the high, rolled over slightly, and it's picking up, held another high low in here, and that entry through there is great. Same, if you can see that through there, that trend down is broken with this push up. That's an ideal entry for us. Risk is down here, and it got this leg up here. You could have got 2-3 to 1 out of that quite easily. And even that I think what we spoke about yesterday, if you took that level from there to there, you probably find that's very similar from that low to the high. So you're expecting, once it pops out of here, you're expecting that's the low. Take your projection from your low to your high of that leg up, and then you've got a reason to be cautious up here, or even take half off. That's your volatility projection we discussed yesterday. All right, I think we'll call it quits there for the day. It's getting on about that hour stage, so I hope you enjoyed it today, guys. Is there anything else you want to look at? Anything that you want to just touch on tomorrow? A topic of any sort? Feel free to whack it in. If there's something that takes your fancy, some minors, I'll have a look at it. Obviously, charting's technical side's quite easy. It's just the fundamental side. I do a bit of research on those if I don't know the stocks. Yeah, I think we'll get a topic together for tomorrow, and we'll send out as an alert. What's tomorrow? Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, and then on Friday. So yeah, thank you for joining us. It's just before we finish, see where the market's up. Still up, still holding the highs of 33. Just see my stocks if they're actually moving or not. Yeah, we've got this little one here, CZN. It's gone. We got that at 2 something, 2.2, sort of in that zone, that pullback. That's looking good. Taking these highs, hit 3 today. I'd like to see that push back up into 5. That'd be great. Anyway, yeah, thanks very much for joining us, guys. Look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. And if you've got any charts you want to send through, have a bit of a discussion, even if it's a trade. I'm happy to show some trades of mine as well. Anything I'm doing, I'll put those up. We can discuss why we got in, why we didn't get in. A good, bad, or ugly trade, it doesn't matter. It's always good discussing just to get an idea. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll speak to you tomorrow. Cheers, guys. Bye.